Offensive security. Call OffSec, them are the very best. Yeah, man. Call OffSec for penetration test. Penetration, yeah. Who's OffSec to educate the rest? We call the expert DV online training. OffSec roof for me service. You must try harder to keep up the pace. Otherwise you will be a big disgrace. Tell the competition them to take a rest. OffSec run the game. Let me suggest the game run the Wild West. OSCP and OSCE, OSWP and OSAA. OffSec up on the like lion on Serengeti. And I turn them fire while shooting at the confetti. When you have computer system with no integrity, and you need to give a test, call OffSec, you see. Best defense of what offense said they won't chop them, see. Proactivate your cover to get that security. Sniffing and diffing and hacking and cracking. Now send the competition, crying and packing. Spoofing and coding, debugging and scanning. Delivering the good like them name Peyton Manning. Reversing what the competition cursing. Them fishing, them wishing, what the other them just wishing. Employing exploits with the samurai precision. OffSec company, them are division. Call OffSec, them are the very best. The best. Call OffSec for penetration test. Who's OffSec to educate the rest? We call the expert DV online training. OffSec who for me service. You must try harder to keep up the pace. My boy. Otherwise you will be a big disgrace. Tell the competition them to take a rest. OffSec run the game. Let me suggest the game run the Wild West. You are a hero today, but boy they found ya 0 day. Them the Navy seal the cracking, sell a lot in my pocket, and the rest of them are infantry. Them a king of the bugging, no so them a straight tugging. When they come to the legal acting, not the other skills lacking. Them say try harder, them resolve and never swear. At the street and not the big competition second grade. The rest of those noobs who run the tools, say them not have what it takes to break the rules. Run up call it the next like a Jedi master. Breaking out your system like a full-time blaster. Check the counter, boy, you know you have to cop it. Android system, you can hack from your pockets. Call OffSec, them are the very best. Call OffSec for penetration tests. Who's OffSec to educate the rest? We call the expert DV online training. OffSec who for me service. You must try harder to keep up the pace. Otherwise you will be a big disgrace. Tell the competition them to take a rest. OffSec run the game. Let me suggest the game run the Wild West. Can't test OffSec. Can't test OffSec. Oh, can't test OffSec. Can't test OffSec. Oh, pa ping ping ping. Hey. Yeah man, check that on the boy, you know you have to cop it. Android system, you can hack from your pockets. Offensive security.
Right. Hello? Hello? Is it ready? Let me check. Okay, looks like it's ready. Not on YouTube, right? All right. So let's start. Before that, let me check everything's ready. YouTube. Okay, I can see Twitch is ready, but I don't think YouTube is syncing my screen. Okay, yeah. So there is a delay on YouTube. So let's start. This will be hi everyone. I'm Bo. I'm based in Melbourne. Yeah, just keep typing your comments in the section and let me know how far this session has reached, where you're from, and where what your local time. It's 9 p.m. Here in Melbourne, and it's the prime time for hacking. So this is for a box walkthrough. Just you have seen this box name, which is CVE number. So after this slide, I hope you can forget this CVE number, and we will start from the scratch and enumerate. Okay, so my name is Bo, and I have OSCP done a few years ago, and OSWE wrapped up last year. And I'm OffSec Australia chapter ambassador, and I'm a pen tester. I've been doing pen testing for 4 years, and currently my day job is cybersecurity internal audit manager. And that's me. If you can if you can comment on what took you here, what bring you here, what you are expecting from this session, then that'll be good. Are you coming for OffSec, OSCP, or because which is good news that this box got all the steps you would see for standalone machine. So I will comment here and there about how would I do if that is an exam machine. But this do keep in mind this is a standalone machine, no AD component in it. So and if you are here for the OSWE, then good news, I have twisted our approach to give it some flavor, OSWE flavor. So what we will do is we will develop automated script, and we will first review the code, and we will do the code review. Then we will write a script to automate the whole steps. So once you only need to run the script you have developed, and then you will get a shell. So that's basically what our goal is for today. Of course, we will have privilege escalation afterwards, but that is not part of the OSWE. So I will point out what differs from the OSWE real lab experience. I will give you some of the tools after we wrap up this box. And of course, it's also entirely valid if you are just here for a little bit of fun, a little bit of relax. That I hope I can entertain you as much as possible. Yeah, so whenever you got a question, just drop your comments in the comments section. I'll try my best to read, but if not, Yan would help me to keep an eye on the comment section, and I will answer it. If not right away, then I will answer it later. Of course, I've already see some familiar names. So if you are one of the homie of me, yeah, just let me know. It'll be sweet to know you are here. All right. So without further ado, let's dive in. Don't worry about the steps. I just try to not to give away too much. And yeah, let me bring up my terminals. Before then, let me check if there is any question. Okay, yeah, seems like we are all good, all set to go. So, okay, so I have already started the machine here. This is the IP 202.193. And like I said, just forget the machine, the box name for now. And this is our local IP. Don't worry, you don't have to remember. I will just keep it in the notes so we won't be forget. That's 202. Yep. Okay. So whenever we need it, we can copy it here. All right. So you can see my screen, okay, right? Now, you know the drill, a map. So first, we're gonna grab all the ports, what ports are open with mini rect 1 and 10K, and we're gonna maximize the verbosity, so we know the TTL. From the TTL, we can infer the OS version. But this is super straightforward box, so we don't have to worry about what if there is a Docker or something that complicate the OS info. So it's already come back 2280 and 5,000. Let's get those. So this is to scan those ports. We have just came back, and we will use the SCV. That means we're gonna grab the version and use the script. Is that running? Yes, it is. I will turn off my camera for now because it will slow things down a little bit. I will turn it on. Don't worry, I will turn it on once we finish this. Okay, so it's coming back pretty soon. So for this is only for our demo purpose. That is, this is more time efficient. But in your exam scenario, you are free to use some recon tool, auto recon tool. You can run it at the background instead of just looking at the screen and just waiting. Okay, we have port 22 open SSH, and we have 80. That is a web server and Nginx server in front. Like there is a reverse proxy in front of the web server, and this is a WordPress. So as soon in real exam scenario or SCP scenario, as soon as I see this, I will quickly start WP scan like this. So A for all of P for plugins. So I will enumerate all the plugins, and with the mixed. Mixed means we will gonna be more aggressive. So instead of just scraping the web pages, we're gonna brute force whatever the plugins or themes behind it. But I'll show you. You will see it's very slow. It takes much more time to run and finish it. So for the purpose of this demo, I will just skip this part and use a much quicker way instead. So what we're gonna do is to go to browser. Let me pull up my browser here. If I can type. So what we are targeting is, because we see this is 60 line, it's very recent. And if you go to search, you will see there is not much vulnerabilities. So what I would do is I will targeting on targeting plugins or to see if there is vulnerable plugin. But as I said, this command will take us much more time. We may it may last like more than 1 hour. In exam situation, you will have the 1 hour. You can do the tackle with other exam versions, but with for the purpose of our demo, let's find plugin. WordPress plugin list, word list. This looks okay. Yeah. So we get this plugin list. Well, to plugin list, what maybe better to use wget to save it right away. Okay, so we're gonna use FAF to brute force So what it does is to brute force the plugins, because most of the plugins we would see will be in default path without the developer or admin change the name or change the path. So what we are betting on, there is no change. They are using the default names. So if we try each default name like this, Kismet, we replace that with fast and append with readme, it should return some content and with a status code 200. That's what is the whole thing is meaning to do. So let's try. Since it's report back, we have this Kismet, Kismet. I forgot to introduce my setup. So you have seen here is my host machine. So this is Mac OS host machine, but everything I have done is actually from my colleague. So as you have seen here, I have SSH through my colleague. So what you are seeing is SSH shell. And I will be open up a browser to also not SSH, but proxy through to my colleague. And then I have the local network. So I can connect to the So this is what we just see and estimate. Did I have any Kismet? Yeah. So what we are looking at here is its README file. If this plugin exists, it will give us the 200 status code and show us the README file. So from here, we can look at the change log and load the current version of this plugin. So it's 5.6. Let's do a little bit of research on this plugin. What's the version number again? 5.6. So what the WP scan doing is it will collect to the API, WP API, scan API to find the vulnerable plugins. But we do it differently. We do it more manually. We check it and we go to the internet to search the vulnerability. So any vulnerability associated with it. And looking like it's not, there's nothing really new here. Exploit DB, it's from 2012. Unlikely we will get any vulnerability here. So vulnerability check, maybe. So nothing, no vulnerability mentioned. This is, I don't know what I'm looking at now. Okay, it's vulnerability check. No, it's not specifically talking about the estimate. So it doesn't look like there will be. This is nothing to do with research. Keys made. So nothing. Looks like nothing relevant to this plugin. And we will let it run. But as you can see, it is much faster. But still have a little bit, few minutes to go. It's already 5 minutes, only halfway through. So what else you would do during the exam? What would you do during the exam if you are waiting for something to come back? Let me check comment section to make sure there is any questions. Yeah, I see you from Beijing. Okay, from Brazil. Okay, no question from YouTube and no question Twitch. Okay, so what are you gonna do when you are waiting for the like scanning result coming back? What I will do is to scan something else. For example, I will scan for other virtual host. So if so there might be subdomains and associated with this IP. This word list you can use to brute force this virtual host. So maybe there might other subdomains can have different web server hosted on that virtual host. So this is what we can do. But for this box, I can tell you there's nothing new, no known VirtualBox. Okay. No such file directory. Oh, you need to select a valid file. Haven't checked my. I think it's DNS medium or something. Anyways, something else you can do as well, that is direct web directory brute force. So if you still use FUF, so instead of brute force, let's instead of brute force the plugins, we can brute force the directory. That is useful, especially at port 5000, because WordPress it got a certain way of layout its web content. So we have another one coming back. So let's go moving towards to this. So just now what I wanted to show you is the how to brute force the web directory and use 5000 as port as example. So you can use this instead of brute force the plugin here, where plugin names goes to. You put the fuzz here, so you whatever in the word list, you will send the request, and if that hit like 200 or 43, then you know there is something at this web directory. So let's move forward to see what's this plugin version and any vulnerability associated with it. It's 1.3, 1.7.2. Okay. Web directory free WordPress. 7.2.1.1.2. Let me have a look. 1.7.2. So here is the change log, and it is you can see here. Okay, this is the WP scan where the API would connect to find the vulnerable versions and vulnerable plugins. So that we are doing the similar thing. We just manually do it instead of use the tool WP scan. Anyways, so we gonna look at those one above, because we are at version 1.7.2, so those ones are not existing anymore. The first attract my eyes would be SQL injection, and I will do that. We will check that, and we will check this one because it's very high score, and it got POC. So for this SQL injection, if you search the POC, you cannot find the POC, and you cannot find the parameter which is vulnerable. So it looks promising, but it's actually a rabbit hole, because as you may notice, we don't have any user input. So far we haven't found any user input. So maybe it's a bit slow. Okay, so if you look at the website, there is nothing really we can input unless when we brute force it, nothing come back. There's nothing come back, so we will skip that step. But we park the SQL. It looks very promising, but it can be a rabbit hole. And if you are in an exam, you facing this rabbit hole, you feel it's promising, but after a while you cannot find anything. Then give yourself, timing yourself 30 minutes, 45 minutes. If you cannot find anything, just switch to other machine, switch to other hints instead of just go down too far to the rabbit hole. Anyways, let's go to, because we have POC, so this is, why not we just try it, right? So, so, yeah, I 02193. Did you spot the issue? It took a little bit too long. That is because I have the S. Okay, so nothing come back, which is weird. But if you know WordPress well, or not that well, but you have come across it before, you would know this template or theme actually is a parameter, very many layers down. So we're gonna give it some extra layer to give it more opportunity to come to the top, if that makes sense. So that made the difference. Or otherwise, if you already know there is a local file inclusion vulnerability, if your relative path is not working, you can use the definite path. So this way, you can still find the response. So let's have a look. I think I don't need to copy it. We just have a look. It will be. Do you have any difficulty read my screen? So what we can see, we can spot immediately that is different is the nothing else www-data that looks, which is normal for a web server. And what else you can find? We are trying to spot anyone who are able to connect via SSH or have the Bing SH, right? So user manager has a Bing SH. So there is a user named user manager, and that's the little bit one information. So the second thing, what you would like to try when you have a local file inclusion, the next thing I would try is to find my current running process, or more information about my current running process, and if there is any environment variables or if there is anything that telling me which file, which path I'm on and in the file system. So that is the next thing I would check. Environment. Miss one ira. Yeah. So nothing back, it's empty. So this environment variable is empty. So What else we can try? We can try the home page, home directory of the user manager, right? Because we are betting on the chance we are the user manager user who is running this process. So by this process, I mean this WordPress server, right? But let's see if we can get anything. Maybe bash rc. We're just looking any folder under this its home directory. Which file would you normally look at? There are quite a few files, so I will look at the RC file, bash RC. It's just it's most likely exists. So if you notice, there is a slight difference. This is none. That means it doesn't. There must be some error reply back. This is empty. It doesn't have the value. So we know that, at least we know for now, we are not user manager. Otherwise, we can access this. So the WordPress application is not run by user manager. It might, most likely, then it will be run by www-data. That's my guess. We can prove it later. So next thing I would try, because we have the access to read certain directory. If we are www-data, then we would be possible to read like var -html, www.html, but the next level, we don't know the directory name. So we can guess maybe it's WordPress, but instead of doing the guesswork, I would like to approach it more structural, in a most structural way. So if we take a step back, this server is behind the Nginx reverse proxy. So we can check if we are able to access it. Most likely we need to be able to, right? We are the process itself. So we check the configuration files of Nginx. So if we go to search, Nginx default config file path. Yeah, looks good. So I try to skip this one is because when you are in exam, we try to just avoid use AI help, right? You know the rule, so that's why I click the link instead of use AI's result. So okay, so this path is to your config file. So this looks like it. Let's see. Okay. We have to user all the way until here. Copy. Because we need a better format, so we use printf to print out the new line. And so let's read. What's basically saying is, okay, size, nothing really interesting. Access log. we can actually access those error logs and access log, but not too interesting because in the real world, that would be telling a lot of you can do some sensitive information can be found in the certain level of, if that is configured correct, the log shouldn't have like password or something, but still you will be able to tell some useful information. But for this one, because we are the only user of this server, we are not quite interested in visiting that. But we do see virtual host config. You remember earlier we tried to brute force virtual host, but there were no other virtual host. But maybe we can go on because that virtual host may not on our list, or maybe there are some interesting setting there. So what I would check the next would be the virtual host config. If nothing, then I would go back to access log and error logs. So let's go back. So this is a directory. We need to find the default. At least we can go to the default virtual host. So let's search. Nginx virtual host config file. Host config files. Try not the. This is giving us the directory to file default. Maybe it give us the directory if we want to find the default file. Include something else. No? It takes a little bit time to research and get the correct answer, or it takes a little bit of try to investigate what the default file name is. Default. So I found it here. That's the default file, but it didn't come up in my search just now. So it does take a little bit of time to investigate. If you're not very familiar with Nginx configuration file structure, or may take some imagination to put the default here. Anyways, let's come back. So I think we are pretty close to the answer now, because we're after. So this is what we see at port 80. We saw it is running. Okay, so it has 2 layers above, and we have WordPress and blog. So that's why when I did this first time, I never guessed the the file directory, because either I tried WordPress, either I tried the user manage, but I never thought of put them all together with and with a blog. So it's hard to guess. And move on to read this. This is commented out. So it looks like someone has moved this another web server to root. We don't know yet what that exactly mean. Does it mean it got the whole file moved to the root or copy to the root? So we need to investigate and test our theory. And as we can see, there is a file named app.py. We can try this folder, this path. It's another root, another web server's root, but it's not anymore because it's moved. It might be not anymore running, but my chances are it's still, the files are still there. So we can try to go to that file, to that path, to grab the file. So it's default web server directory. User manage. No, that's our directory. No, no way get any response. Okay, now we have some response. So we have the source code of 5,000 port 5,000. Because we seen it, we seen the 5,000. There is a server running at port 5,000, and it happened to be okay, since we've been there, let's investigate the 5,000 port. I've skipped a lot of steps. While you are doing exam, what the first thing you would do is to go hop on to the server, to look at the server, look at the web page, and guess what's the server behind it. But we've already got so to enumerate this server, maybe you can do, what you can do is to force the for a lot font page, and you can search. Let's do the search. So it looks very much exactly the same as this one, the Flask, right? Check your spelling and try again. So this way you can investigate what kind of server you are looking at. And it also proves that what we are looking at, the source code, is likely to be the 5000 server, because it used to be, and it likely still is. Because from Flask, this is the Flask. Okay, so let's copy this. We are a little bit behind our time. I will speed up. So let me put our browser, and we quickly walk through what we are looking at, the source code, because it's already almost 1 hour past 1 hour mark. So let's see. First, it imports quite a few libraries. Nothing special except for Pickle. If you have Pickle, it takes a lot of effort to secure some of the sensitive functions in Pickle. And then we see a third-party library. We will come back to it if we cannot find anything else interesting. But for now, I will remember Pickle is used here. And then it is generate a secret code. And it's then initiate a database. So first step, let's look at the login function, register function. So it will give, if we give it a username and password. Okay, I used tester as the username and password. Let's log in. Okay, so it takes some time sometimes to direct to the page. I will quickly go through it because we don't have much time, but I would like to draw your attention to this SQL statement. If you look at this question mark, and if you look at this username, comma, you will know this is parameterized, so SQL injection is off table. I also want to point out the authentication mechanism, but let me get our burp started. So in both OSWE and OSCP, you are required to use Burp Suite Community Edition. No Pro is allowed. And now, yeah, it has been set up to So what I wanted to point out is this session token looks very much, the starting is looking like JWT token because its start with the same. So it's in here, it use username and as the start, and then the next bit is the timestamp. Then the last bit is signature. So when you see code here, it is actually when it is verify and authenticate user. What it is doing is if username not in session, it will redirect you to login. So otherwise, if username is in session, it is not talking about this username just in session. It talk about after validation. This library would do it validation for you, and if after validation the username is still there, then that means the signature is correct, is valid, and the user is, then they will use this username to authenticate you, authenticate this user, and then doing the further actions. So what's interesting is exporting that data and the import data. If we look at the some of the document that explaining what's the deserialization in Pickle. So first, we will have an object. When we object it, we use this, we put this object as a file, and then we dump it, or we just dumps the directly use dumps the data. When this called serialize the data to a pickle object, then when we want to use it, this is just easier for us to store and transmit the pickle object. Then once we need to use it, we deserialize it at the server end. So use loads and to deserialize the resulting data, resulting binary or resulting byte, then it will be converted back to data. So that's basically how it works. The thing is, if this data is controlled by user, and user can, essentially this is an object, it's a binary. So you can squeeze a function. You use this reduce function as your entry point, telling it to run the commands you like. Then when you wrap it into the dumps, and it'll be converted to a pickle object. Once it gets loaded, whatever inside this function, reduce function, will be executed. So that's how this attack works in a very short, in short. So what we're gonna do is we were gonna try to understand what the steps are. So this is export endpoint. We can look at here. What it does is to get the user and the username, just converted to a pickle, use dumps to convert it to a pickle object. Then we hex it. Then we in base 64 encode it, and then we channel it to a file. That's it. So what we should expect? We should expect this one to be a base 64 file, right? We can go our verb to look at what we have downloaded. The wrong way. So here we can see this is the base 64. And it should, when we go through this process to reverse it, it should go back to something like this. Okay, let me show you quickly. So if I go, we're gonna use pickle, and then we take that. We take this string. Actually, what we're gonna do is to save some time not doing the reverse this object, because we need to read a little bit more of what is happening when we import data. This is where we can have our user input and then squeeze our malicious code in. So if we look at this basically reverse the whole thing, only with the difference is here we have a header start with here, and if we see where it is used is here. If this header start with the same thing, same with this import data, then it will go through. If not, it will just silently give you this flash feedback success response and do nothing. So we need it going to this if, because only here it will load the binary and execute our malicious code. So we need to take that binary header along with our malicious code binary, then transfer it into hex, then into base 64. So this is what we're gonna do. So let's also import OS. So what we're gonna do is we will use this to construct this similar malicious code. Only thing is I use the command variable because it will make it easier to read. Then the steps we're gonna get it done here. Then we will add the header. This is a very important step, so we can get it into the loads. So what I missed, I forgot to copy this. The variable is not set, so. convert to hex, then convert to in base 64 encoded. If you think that is too complicated, actually what I was doing is just repeating the export function. It looks very similar, right? It's just copy paste. Okay, so let's see what this string looks like. Copy this string to our let's import it. So you notice the behavior, and it's constantly redirect me to login. That's something not common to see, but there must be some reason. And we have the source code. You may already notice something odd that can cause this issue. But anyways, we'll move forward to import. So we have it here. I'll change it to no, not this. No, I thought I have copy pasted. Copy, paste, and okay. So this, what we are doing is we are writing a file in a temp directory. So let's verify if it is there. Oh, this. Yeah, it is there. So we have remote code execution. So this time what we're gonna do is to give it a reverse shell. So before that, listener has to be up. Let's just copy paste the whole thing. So this is the listener to my local port. No, there is something doesn't match up. What? Indentation. Okay, let's. So this is the payload with our reverse shell. Okay, so now we get our shell. So the interesting thing is actually we are in the home directory of this user. We have, as we can see, we have app.py, app.py. So looks like the whoever moved the directory actually didn't move the whole thing. The person just moved the just copy all the files to here instead of delete that one and move a real move in our common language, right? So the next thing when I get on our box, what I will do is to look at this database. So just try to find anything like reuse. But before that, let's upgrade our shell. It's just give us some easier to use like arrows and Control C to exit the current process instead of just exit the whole shell. So std echo foreground. Okay. Now, what I would do is to read this, but unfortunately there is no SQLite 3 on this machine, so I need to send it to my local machine. Okay. To see if there is any reuse, password reuse or any. No. So we are the only one in here. Nothing really interesting. No. Is that quick? No, I need to get the next thing I would try is to find sticky bit, but there's nothing. I will skip that step. It is very non-response and we don't have much time. So let's go straight to what lead to the next discovery. That is, I will look at the ports that only available to the local network. So we know there is 5,000. This is the local SQL service. So it's look also interesting. And most intriguing is 7699 because this one I would expect, but not this one. So let's see what's there. Mm-hmm. So there is something. We never seen those before. User manager system. we need to see it with our own eyes. So what you can do is there are two ways to do it. You can generate a SSH key to the and make a SSH folder, and you may SSH through to this box. Then you SSH port forwarding forward 7699 to your local box, or otherwise, you as lazy as me, you can do what you can do is just use Chisel, which I like it because it's easy to use. And let's just transfer it from my local machine. So to do that, I need to open another shell. Mm. So what I'm going to do is to set up a web directory. Sorry, web server to server in the TTP. I think so. Yeah, no, PP server. Right. Yes. Okay. I don't think 8,000 would work because the firewall in setting configuration in proving grounds doesn't always allow 7,000 or something. Most likely to mirror whatever open ports are there, or the most safe choice would be 80 port 80. So that's why you see all my reverse shell and all the web server I use 80. I'm transferring Chisel. So let's go to 10. And because we don't want it to just hang there, we want it running and in the background. So what we will run command is to no hang up, and then after execute, go into the background. What I will run on my server though is I will use my box as Chisel server and reverse mode, and this will connecting to my server. So back to my browser, if you are in Kali, then it will be easy. You just type your local host, then local host you forward 7699 to your local host port 7699. But for me here is a little bit different because I need to type my Kali IP because it is forwarding to Kali forward to itself 7699, not my host machine. So my Kali is on port. Let me check quickly. Okay, it has been. I have done that before. So yeah, this is the application we were looking at user curl. And we see this is not easy to read, but we can see there is something we can do. If we add user, they will say user add. No, wait, not now. Oh, okay. So before I used to, as you can imagine, I have already done this box before, like 2 days earlier. So I have actually changed the row value here. And so when I visit this again, it has already saved automatically for me. But when it was originally was viewer, the row was viewer. And if we resend, you will see it actually not as what we see. And what I did was I noticed this is viewer, and it is very tempting just to change it, right? As a pen tester, you would always do that. So that's what I did. I changed it to admin, and then instantly it changed it for me. And notice what's here is the user we have seen in the LFI, we have seen in the etc password. So this is basically the box user. Because it's box user and by adding user, it's natural, we think it's some bash command behind this application. So behind this input, that's what we will do. We will try to see if this is indeed a command injection, because if that is a bash, there might be a chance it could be a command injection. So it did sleep. Let's do 3. Not that. Oh. Do we still have people with me? And is that anything you see not correct? Let's see. Sleep, I'm pretty sure it is. Anything else you want to try, like injection? What first you want to try if you suspect there is a command injection? Okay, right. Looks like someone got the answer. I'm using the sleep room. So it is actually slipped. So we have another command. We have injection. So let's see, because we don't have the response back. So let's directly add ourselves to root user to see what happens. What would you do if you got like command injection or any command you can execute, but you don't have access to the response? I think when I did OACP, what I do is normally I would add a sticky bit to the bin bash or bin sh. So that's my favorite, my go-to. But now I prefer to use this to add the user. I have control to all to the pseudoler file, because it is more easy and less special characters. So let's see if we have anything. Sudo if okay, so we got the root. Yep. So that's the box. But before we end, I want to show you how to develop a script, just according to OSWE's requirement, because the requirement is literally not to use AI. So it is sometimes after use it for a while, we become more comfortable with AI's assistance to help us write any code. We become less familiar with write from the scratch, but you don't have to write from scratch. That's the point I want to make. During the course, you should have already collected quite a few of code slippage to like login function, like register function should be already to your hand, and you should be, they are reusable, and you can save it in your notes, and when in the exam situation you just copy paste. That's basically my strategy, and it worked. So what I would do is I will quickly write a code. Let me finish it by 5 minutes, and I hope my tools are up to the task. So import all those things, I will just copy paste, because it's not, that's what we will need to use. And the thing I normally do and this is a recommended way to do it, is you put your best URL, so you don't have to change it in your functions, in your anywhere in the function and the scripts. So so this will be the global variable, and the local IP same. So when during the exam, if that is exam environment, you will write some instruction of how to use your own script. So like I said, first thing I would build is to build the main function. So I know, because I have gone through it manually, so I know what each step would be. The first step would be me to register, right? To have the register my username and the password I need to generate, or I give it hard code username or password. But this I want to be more sophisticated, I will give it to generate a random string, and then it can be used. There should be some. So this will be the username and password. So what I'll do is to write a function of generate random string function. This should be already you have collected during your learning journey. So this should not be on right during the exam. So I'll just copy paste the whole function here for the purpose of demo. And then what we do is we register this user, right? But before that, we will want to know our username and password. So maybe it always helpful, not maybe, but always helpful print as much information as possible. If you feel it is too noisy, you can comment out later, but it is useful to debug during the script development phase. So next thing, I will just define a function to generate register user. So I'll just copy paste the generate user. This, as I said, should have already be built along the way during your study. And as the same thing to the login user, it just different is the endpoint. You may have different endpoint. You just change it here and there, but you have what you don't need to is to rewrite it. They might be different. It might not be data. It might be JSON, but it's just slight change. You should be or like 80% set before you go into the exam. Okay, so next step, we log in. So if we registered, right? If registered, we should print login, and then we will log the users to save the time you're looking at me typing, and I always have some typo, so always be some typo in my typing. So just copy paste will be easier. If else, so the Python is very picky about how you use tab or space, so be careful. And that's why I turned on the what we call it, the space, black space, so I can see if I put tab accidentally, then I know how to fix it, where to fix it. So the next step is after login, I will generate my exploit content. That part is super easy for generate the content because we've already have it here. That's basically how we generate it, right? So we will wrap it into the function. We will define our function. Before that, let's see, register user, login user, then yeah, we define this function. We copy paste what we have done in the command session, command line. And just with a little bit, because we need our local IP go into it. So we just use this. That's the copy paste thing here, if you compare. So that's basically done, but I also built another one function, upload with retry. If you notice, we constantly being redirect to this login page. Even this is an odd behavior. I have draw your attention. Or this easier, we just okay. But that means sometimes they will fail. In the exam situation, this that would fail you if it's not robust enough to get the shell. So it should be more resilient than we just give it one try. So that's why I built with retry function. Basically, what it does is it will upload and try 5 times. If not successful, it will re-log in to upload again. So I will upload the file and let it upload multiple times. So that's the function. First upload the file. If it is failed, it got redirected to login. Then we try the second time until it's 6 or 5 times of attempts. Then it will redirect to not to if we already tried to redirect 5 times, then we will log in again and then try again. So that's basically the script. Let me see. Save it to save it here. We give it a better name to describe it. Exploit, maybe. So let's see. It's here. Python exploit. Okay. The 0 line. So here, yeah, function definition. Okay. Yeah, forgot That's a common pattern. Okay, let's quit this one. Let's exit this one. Okay, forgot to quit this reverse shell. Let's anyways, let's run it. Do you see what's the problem? That's really silly. We are not doing anything with the script. We didn't even run the main function. We're just busy with build the function, didn't run them. Again, response, that's the thing. (9117) need some time to debug. 997, that's the 117 is smart. And session post. Times 18. Okay, so I always telling we need to define our session as a global variable, because that means the session will take the session code with our whenever we call the request or response. But I forgot to put that in our session global variable. So let's do it again. And we forgot to listen. Okay, okay, so now it works. Yeah. All right, that's the box. It's been really longer than I expected, but I hope you pick up something useful. And Ian, what's next step? Maybe I'll share the flash quiz, if that's what we are going to do. Okay, so sorry, I didn't see the comments. Interesting. I started proving grounds breakout, but it seems GitLab, WordPress, there is low open door. Just lost a little bit. Merchant breakout. This is not merchant breakout. This is CVE. I hope you have already find the answer, but this is the CVE. I have this. Let me put the machine number here again. So the machine number is this. CVE-2024-3673. Okay, so sorry, zooming, I didn't. Was it the size okay? Was it all visible or holds all the way, or it was too small? I hope it was okay at your end. Okay, Yan Yan, shall we? Okay, before we go to the flash quiz, here is some useful tools you may want to grab. Auto recon for OSCP, when you are doing something else, you can run it in the background. It might come up with some good findings. And if you are preparing for OSWE, there are exploit writing tips and reusable codes here in this GitHub repo. And this is some similar lab environment. So some very resemble to the OSWE lab machines. So if you don't, you are still thinking, maybe you can have a look at this, those labs to get a flavor of it and decide if you are going to have a go with try your hand with the OSWE. Then also there is some mind guide. This is mind map, but I would recommend you to develop your own mind map, because we know some certain vulnerability can get you to privilege escalation. Some certain ones would give you the RCE. So yeah, we can proceed with flash quiz. All right, I was planning to give you like hints by hints, but I will give you that it all here. If you can figure out why we always been redirect, not only import data endpoint, but export data endpoint, and sometimes profile endpoint, just redirect us to login again and again and again. It was frustrating when we did that. You notice me being redirect to login page a lot of times. So why is that? What's your theory? You have already have the full visibility to the code itself, and I also put the process information here, how it was started. So if you can form a theory why it is this case, then put in the comment section, and you will get a voucher for proving grounds. I think it's 1 month, right? Access to proving grounds. All right, that's it. It's been really long. I hope you find it useful and not too tiring to look at those small my screen. I just realized that the font size may be small for you. I hope it was always visible at your end. All right, thank you guys.